All right. Welcome back to What She Said Sports, everybody. It's Nola Girl checking in for a midday huddle. We have some good information that came out today. I call it breaking news because I'm going to look at it as potentially a sign of respect. What it says to me that Todd Monken posted Shedeur Sanders on his social media is that we shouldn't see any more blatant disrespect. That's what it says to me. We shouldn't see any further blatant disrespect of this young man. Is this Todd Monken taking a step in the right direction? Absolutely. Is it genuine? You have to wait and see, right? People want to say, I think Todd Monken is doing the right thing. I'm like, okay, well, let's look at his pattern, his history of behavior. Let's look at how it worked out before when he was doing the right thing. Is he doing the right thing, or is he going to keep us off his back? Because we watch it. Let's not kid ourselves here and pretend that make sure let's not pretend that the voices of accountability aren't part of it, right? But in fairness, when Todd Monken got to Baltimore and for the 2023 season, Lamar Jackson, his QB, it started off well. It said it started off well, and then things took a nosedive, right? So it talked about how in the beginning, like any other new relationship, the honeymoon phase starts off well, but then over time, by the time they got to the last season, 2020, that's 3 seasons, the honeymoon was over. And it said that Monken's departure was fueled by reported friction with the quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Offensive struggles, and a hard driving style. Now, when we talked about Stefanski, people kept talking about his hard driving style. Let's cut the mustard, okay? Stefanski did not have a hard driving style. He was being abusive. And I don't know if Monken's hard driving style is the same hard driving style as Lamar, but when it was with Lamar, what I can say is the last time Monken posted a quarterback, it was Lamar in 2023 in July. So coming into the season on X, Monken's page, he reposted. He doesn't post a lot. He reposted a post that was out there about Lamar being at Louisville. And y'all know Lamar had been in the league since 2018 by then. So he didn't have to repost it. But remember, he's coming in. It's July. So put your mindset as to where we are now. It's the off season. So in the off season, he's on X. He has the job. He's going to coach Lamar. He sees a post about him and he retweets it. Okay. That's a good thing, right? That's the good thing. So how did things end up so poorly with Monken saying he could have coached Lamar better? How is it that Monken has the same hard driving coaching style that caused friction with the quarterback as Stefanski, hard driving style causing friction with the quarterback? So it was a good step with Lamar when Monken was on his way in to repost Lamar. He's only had about 2 posts since then. And then he posts Shedeur. And with the post, he just posted 3 horse heads. Shedeur gave him the gift. But his response, I talked about it in my live stream last night. His response wasn't anything that was, I'm gravitating towards you. It was, what is this? I told my wife I didn't know what it was. What is this? Right? And I'm like, really? Okay. That's not what you say when somebody gives you a gift. And here we are making it right. Because I know he got blowback. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Flacco and Shedeur. Remember when Flacco first arrived in Cleveland, outside of the fact that Mary Cabot asked him, do you think Shedeur's celebrity is going to be a problem for you? And he put his head down like, oh, what did I sign up for? When Flacco came into the scenario in Cleveland, you could tell that he had been told some things. And he was going down that path of distance away from Shedeur, even though he had those $13 million. He had about up to $13 million in incentives for his contract. $4 million plus incentives, totaling $13 million. And mind you, you're coming in, you've been in the league 20 years, you got this young quarterback. He wasn't worried about any competition because they came and got him off his couch right after they left CU Pro Day. They were at CU Pro Day on 4/4. They signed Flacco on 4/10. So he didn't fear Shedeur's competition. His impression of Shedeur was tainted by the organization. This is the same organization that had Flacco sharing a locker with Jerry Jeudy. So again, he didn't fear any competition. He wasn't giving Shedeur the Heisman initially due to competition. And Shedeur was, just like he is with Monken, a gesture of kindness. And Flacco pulled away. Remember they were talking about the dancing, and he was like, yeah, whatever. Then he was like, I didn't get off my couch to mentor anybody, yada, yada, yada. That didn't go over well. The next thing you know, we see it turning around, and it looks like genuinely it made it to this place right here, which you see on the screen. And we know, I believe, when Shedeur was being set up by Stefanski, Flacco went over to him in the Rams game, right? So we won't see any blatant disrespect. That's what this says. But Monken came in seemingly genuine. We tried to draft you without context, saying we'll talk about it later, because he knew, right? He knew that they tried to draft Shedeur around 140, which is terrible. That's not Shedeur's worth, so that's nothing to celebrate. So you're putting that out there. So you got to be careful. You got to look at what's happening. See, a lot of people want to look at these situations and think that everything is on the up and up. Absolutely not. It's far from on the up and up. I've said it myself, Monkin and Stefanski 2.0, without the abuse. And I'm right. And Monkin has started off with Shedeur like he started off with Lamar, coming in, showing niceties. The last quarterback he reposted, and there's a whole 3 seasons in there, and he didn't post about Lamar. But on the way in July, the offseason before he begins coaching the Ravens, he just retweets a post about Lamar. But in the 2-3 years he was there, crickets. And then now it's Shedeur. So let me know what you think about it. But I'm telling you what I think. And of course, there's already people on X. Oh, I think, Monken, he's like being genuine. And I'm like, I disagree. I just said, okay, we'll see. That's the approach I have. We shall see. Here's what Monken has to prove to the fans that he's not a Stefanski. And one way to do that is the post that's on his page with Shedeur. That's a step. It says we won't see any blatant disrespect of this young man. What else does it say? What else does it say? It says Shedeur is important to the fans, and I can't play in his face. Okay? That's what it says. This kid is important to the fans. I can't go in here and play in his face. That's what it says. That's what it says. You know what else it says? It says that the organization knows that they can't blatantly disrespect Shedeur like they allowed with Stefanski last year. That's on the organization. They waited to fire Stefanski. What he did was egregious. He should have been fired mid-season, as I said multiple times, between after Daboll was fired or before Callahan was fired. He should have been right there in the middle with them. It shouldn't just be about your record and a losing record. It should be about respect for the players or disrespect toward the players or sabotage toward the players. But the Browns didn't care about that part. But now with Monken, they care about that part. And what else it says is Monken, like I said, is not going on the record to publicly sabotage Shedeur. He will not be that. And one of the reasons I believe they hired Monken is because he did set up Lamar without publicly sabotaging him. It's called quiet sabotage. So, yes, it's a step in the right direction, but Monken has been here before with Lamar. Go check out his ex. Go check out his ex page. He's been here before. I'll just show you his page. This is Monken reposting Lamar. This is from 2023, July, which would have been his first season. How did the Ravens season end? How did the Ravens season end in 2023? It ended with sabotage, didn't it? And who was the offensive coordinator? Monken. So what Monken has to prove is just like he's starting off with Shedeur, it's the same way he started off with Lamar. The Browns have already made transactions that point your eyes in the direction of the tight end situation, because what's the first transaction they made after Monken arrived? The tight end was replaced in Njoku. And what's the second thing that's being said? Harold Fanning Jr. is the future, not the right now tight end. So who's tight end one? Remember the tight end problem in 2023? So Monken started off reposting Lamar, hasn't posted him in 2 to 3 years. He started off by reposting Shedeur or posting Shedeur. So right here, 23. Then there's a post right here about probably one of the other players. Then I saw a post about Derrick Henry, and then it's Shedeur. So he doesn't post a lot. He doesn't post a lot. If somebody wanted to dress this up, Monken hasn't posted since 2022, and he posts Shedeur. He reposted Lamar in 23, and Lamar was sabotaged in 23. He posted him coming in, so he came in hot in that 1 year, and then look what happened in 2023 versus the Bills. Instead of giving the ball to Isaiah Likely, which is probably something they've been practicing, he made the decision to go with whom, and that ball was dropped. And that same whom just got a $39 million contract at the age of 30. The Kirk Cousins light. For somebody that was reported going missing in games 5 years ago before Monken got there. So Monken's affinity, his affinity for Mark Andrews is why he chose him. Monken's going to have to prove he's not coming in hot with Shedeur like he did Lamar. And he going to set Shedeur up like Stefanski did when it's time for the playoffs. Because guess what? That's not the agenda. Monken, it's on him to prove that his posted Shedeur is genuine and not the same old that he did with Lamar. He has to prove that his playbook and his hard driving style of play is conducive to winning and not setting up Lamar in the same season he came in hot posting him. Well, it's on Monken to prove that he has the team's best interest at heart and the quarterback's best interest at heart. And he's not going to quietly sabotage him like we saw with Lamar in the same year. He came in hot, reposted him, but he's been there since 2023 and hadn't posted him since. Is it genuine? Probably not. It explains the friction with the quarterback. It explains the offensive struggles. Imagine the offensive struggles is why you no longer have your job, but you get a better job to come in and take over and do it again with a quarterback that was already just set up because his coach got moved to go set up another quarterback that looks like Shedeur, Michael Penix. I said it. I hope Shedeur and Michael Penix Jr. have talked. I hope all 17 or however many black quarterbacks there are in the league, but the starters, they need to be in a group chat. They all need to be in a group chat. But that can get a little complex. But the other ones can learn. But 17 to 32 need to be in a group chat. Because I'm sure Shedeur has a lot of wisdom to share with Michael Penix Jr. And I'm sure Lamar has a lot of wisdom to share with Shedeur. But Monken is coming in just like he did with Lamar. You need to look at people's pattern of behavior. If you don't know, you take a wait and see approach. Yes, this is good news because we will not see blatant disrespect. But will he work to make sure the team is eliminated? If that's the goal of the owner, he will, because clearly that was the goal in Baltimore. Explain how he failed up. Explain how he was problematic. He even said it. I could have coached Lamar better. He didn't post about him in 2 years. So what he did in 23 with Lamar on his X page is exactly what he did with Shedeur. So it don't mean shit in terms of how Monken is going to coach or treat Shedeur. Look at his pattern with his previous quarterback, which is Lamar. It's the same on X. So you have to wonder if it will be the same on and off the field. Shedeur's gesture of the horse head, he didn't have to do that. And out of professionalism, what Monken should have done is say, man, I got this gift. It was amazing. I didn't know it was from Shedeur. I didn't even know what it was. But hey, my wife looked into it. I looked into it, and it's a sign of respect. And I love that. I believe this post is cleaning up his response. I believe this posting Shedeur now is cleaning up his response to the gift. His response in the media called Shedeur's gift Godfather-like, which was a sign of disrespect in the movie. So the takeaway for me is that he won't be publicly disrespectful, but I knew that. I knew that. I said, in fact, he probably told the Browns, I'm not coming in here to be disrespectful. And I think the Browns hired him because he achieved the goal of keeping Lamar away from the playoffs, from the Super Bowl. Lamar is a 3-time MVP. It don't matter that they stole his third one. He earned it. You don't say he's not the MVP. He earned it. They just chose to give it to somebody else. That's on the NFL. Just like Shedeur earned top 2 quarterback coming in the draft, they chose to give it to somebody else. That's on the NFL. So it proves we won't see any public disrespect. Good, because we better not see any public disrespect. It proves he ain't crazy. And it proves he might need to watch his words and his behavior towards this young man, because 20 million people are watching. Do you know there are 10,000 channels on Shedeur Sanders? 10,000. We have barely scratched the surface of what you actually see. That's a lot of voices. Most people don't have 10,000 channels by their hashtag or their name. Shedeur does. And it proves that the Browns know that they cannot publicly sabotage this kid. So now that we know what it's going to be, it's not going to be public disrespect. Now we need to see, is it going to be quiet sabotage like it was for Lamar? The pattern of behavior with Lamar has already started with the coming in hot post. And then that's it. It said, reports indicated tension between Monken and Lamar Jackson, with sources citing a shelf life for his coaching style with the quarterback. So Monken's coaching style seemingly didn't work with Lamar. And what the hell is his hard driving coaching style that didn't work with Lamar. Lamar is very unproblematic. Very unproblematic. So if his coaching style has a shelf life, because it's problematic, why the hell is he a head coach? I get it. People want to, they want to see that things are going to be better right now. You can't. You have to wait. All you can do is look at his pattern of behavior. And so far, Monken gonna need to prove that all of these photo ops and niceties are more than just that. Because that's what it was with Lamar. Look at how it ended. New relationships always start on a high note for the most part. There's this feeling of positivity because of the potential of what we could do, but then the reality and who people truly are comes out. And I've already seen a little bit of Monken after Shedeur sent him that gift. I expected professionalism. That's not what we got. People gonna say, "Oh, you just saying that." I'm like, no, I'm not. There's no reason why. There's no reason why you should be blind to this man's history. You should not. Is he a demon? I didn't say that. Is he willing to do the company agenda? Absolutely, because he felt he did the company agenda in Baltimore. How explain how his hard driving style has a shelf life, but he gets promoted? How is it that you're a problem with the 3-time MVP and you get promoted? Because you're not promoted. You're being moved around, and your compensation is your reward for keeping Lamar out of the Super Bowl. I'm not the only person that knows that. I'm probably just one of the few that will say it. So you have been moved like musical chairs to come over to Shedeur. What this post proves is we won't see any public sabotage, any public disrespect. Now you got to look for it on the low. Now you have to look for it on the low. And if you watch the Ravens, because we watched the Ravens, right? We watched the Ravens. We watched in 2023, mind-boggling personnel change. You know, frequent personnel changes, excessive personnel changes were discussed with Stefanski. Remember when we were watching some of the games, we could hear the commentators say, there's been a lot of personnel changes here. Same thing. It's weaponized. Personnel changes are weaponized. Stefanski did it. Monken has done it in Baltimore. Monken needs to prove he's coming in with the intentions to win, to strategize, to win, and not treat Shedeur like he's a bridge. Oh, I could be nice to you because we're really, just wanting to kind of contain you. I need to get your trust so you'll do what I say. So overall, we can contain you because we don't want you to show up the Manny kid before he arrives. If you don't think that that's what the hell is going on, protect your heart when you get to the season. Protect your heart when you get to the season. I believe Shedeur has 1 year there because the Browns know they can't draft Arch Manning next year or anybody else and put Shedeur on a shelf. The Browns know if Shedeur gets out here and show out in 2026, they're not going to be able to put him on the shelf when Arch Manning arrives. So they must have plans to trade him then because they surely don't have plans to trade him now. And Monken posting Shedeur doesn't mean that the Browns are committed to Shedeur. This just means we will not see any public disrespect like we did with Stefanski. We should not see any public sabotage, any public humiliation of this young man. We should not see any abuse of this young man. That's all this means. That's what it means from a Browns perspective. It's different for the Browns organization, but is it different for Monken? No. Because on his X page in 23, he reposted Lamar and there's big crickets since. And at the same time, the context was the same. I'm your new coach. I'm new to this. I'm new to the situation. I'm starting off this way. But how did it go? How did it go? Well, you see, he not there. And explain how he got a promotion. While you explain that, explain how the hell Kevin Stefanski got one. Offensive inconsistency, despite a strong start. What I just said. And they talking about on the field. I'm talking about off the field. Despite a strong start, the Ravens offense struggled to find consistency, particularly in the red zone. Remember all the raggedy Wildcats from Stefanski? Remember Stefanski Shedeur out the game? Remember all of the ball drops? Remember the tight end Brenda Bates and Canales, hint, hint, sliding the ball down their bodies? The red zone will be problematic to keep Shedeur from scoring. They'll want to do more field goals to keep the score down, to control the outcome. It's already happened in Baltimore. Just like he was coming in hot with Lamar. I'm sure that gave Lamar a lot of confidence that his new coach in July, but in the off season, would retweet something about him. He posted Derrick Henry recently, December. Why did he post Lamar? That game against the Steelers proved Lamar why he is called the GOAT. Because he is. He reposted that. But he reposted the one that kept dropping the damn ball. That even in this offseason, when they post Derrick Henry working out, people under his comments, all they are saying is, hold on to that ball, calling him a bum, this, that, and the other. That's who he posts. The one that kept dropping the ball, that made it difficult for the Baltimore Ravens. I would expect to go to his page and see him post Mark Andrews then. Or maybe that would just be too obvious. Like we don't know that Derrick Henry kept dropping the ball. It just shifted from Mark Andrews to Derrick Henry. Offensive inconsistency. Despite a strong start, the Ravens offense struggled to find consistency, particularly in the red zone and on third downs. Same with Shedeur. Shedeur kept getting sacked and sabotaged by his own damn O-line on third downs after Jackson missed time with a hamstring injury. Hamstring injury, and he was hit in the back, and his lineman stepped on his ankle, much like Shedeur's tight end crushed his nail off his finger. What's different? Sound like the script, don't it? Sound like the script. I wonder what they call it. The Lamar or the Shedeur? Oh, we're going to take the Lamar and bring it over here to Cleveland and do, the Shedeur. Then we're going to take the Shedeur and bring it over to Atlanta and do it to Michael Penix Jr. Sound like the script, don't it? It's the same thing. Why would you hire somebody that had the same failures as the coach that you just let go? Accountability. Monken took responsibility for not having a better relationship with players and failing to adapt. Failing to adapt the offensive effectively when key players were injured. So when the key players are injured, you didn't change up. So he's not a coach. He's not a coach. He's just in the Manning's circle of coaches, just like Sarkisian at the University of Texas. Either he's not a coach or he was pretending to not be a coach. So now the Ravens find themselves in a massive overhaul, which means they have to rebuild. Now the Cleveland Browns find themselves in a massive overhaul. They're rebuilding. The Atlanta Falcons find themselves in a massive overhaul. Script, script, script. That's how you keep these black quarterbacks from getting far. We're in a massive overhaul. What did they do to the Washington Commanders? They took away their highly successful offensive coordinator to throw Jaden Daniels off. in the offense because that's what's going to happen. They're not rebuilding, but that's change. So it's going to require time. So you can't get back Jaden like you want to. Injuries kept him from that this year, right? Did I not tell y'all that Jaden Daniels' sophomore year was going to be CJ Stroud's sophomore year? And it was. So now I'm telling you that the way it's already starting to come in hot, just like it did with Lamar, is exactly what it's going to be with Shedeur. He's doing the exact same thing. He was not promoted like Stefanski because they're good coaches. They're promoted because they succeeded at holding back their black quarterbacks, Monken included. That's why. So what this post means is we will not see any public disrespect, any public sabotage, any public humiliation, making this kid's life difficult publicly. But will we see any quiet sabotage? Well, that's on Monken to prove he's not there to sabotage Shedeur, that he has no intent to sabotage Shedeur like Stefanski did. And it's on the owner to prove that he is putting together a team to win. And since you already had the number 2 defense and you already made it to the playoffs, if you brought in a head coach that you believed in, then it should be plug and play. It should be plug and play. Because Lamar Jackson was a 3-time MVP. And Monken was credited as having the highest offensive passer rating of the other coordinators that were there. So I'll give him that. I'll give him that. Lamar had a 4,000-yard season in 2024. I'll give him that. So I should see Shedeur out here doing what? I see Shedeur out here playing his best game, being put in a position to play his best game. But wait, he has to compete again. According to Monkin, I don't know why he wouldn't. So he already with the bullshit. Shedeur Sanders competed and won. He was evaluated by the Browns as a number 2 overall pick, which means they know he's elite. He competed last year and they didn't give a damn and was cheated and sabotaged and abused. So coming in hot after you said he's going to compete again, I don't know why he wouldn't, because he already has. He's already proven to be the best QB. All of this competition is just slowing down progress because the Browns refuse to commit Shedeur. And as I said it before, the Browns need to show and prove why they won't commit to the best quarterback that they've had in decades, because he's done more than any Browns quarterback, period. And Monken needs to prove he's not there to sabotage Shedeur, even if that is the company agenda. That's what Monken needs to prove. But so far, he's starting off like he did with Lamar. And I don't expect to see it end like he did with Lamar. So it's on Monken to prove that he's there and he has Shedeur's best interest as a quarterback on that team. And there should not be a competition. And him coming in talking about we were going to draft you, knowing they were going to draft him in the 5th round as well, and then talking about there's a competition, I don't know why there would be, should tell y'all that he's on that bullshit. And this post right here is optics, just like it was when he reposted about Lamar, because he didn't post shit about Lamar since then. So it is on Monken to prove that he's not posturing, because he know the company agenda is the same script from last year to sabotage Shedeur, but I'm not going on the record to do it publicly. So it's going to be quiet sabotage. That is on Monken. All this proves is we will not see public sabotage, public abuse. So we looking for the quiet sabotage. And we watching you, Monken. And Haslam, we got our eyes on you, buddy. And Andrew Berry, you ain't safe either. So I'm checking to see what y'all saying. Happy Tuesday. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. It said we have to watch and see. I believe that you have cracked the code on the NFL. Thank you. Yeah, we definitely watching. They better know we watching because it's starting off like Lamar. It's just giving some posturing. We already know the company agenda because they've already been saying it. Shedeur should not be competing. The Browns are not committed, and Monken can't hide behind the excuse that the Browns are not committed to Shedeur. As the head coach, it is Monken's job to see who this kid is. You can't say he's elite and make him compete. Based on who you have now, you have 4 quarterbacks. And there's no way you can say he's elite, it's in him. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. What you should be saying is, yeah, I need to talk to the team and let them know, look, we got a winner here. We can win this year. You should want that for your career. But he doesn't have to prove anything to the team because they didn't hire him to win. So he's already fallen in line with the sabotage. But this post means it ain't going to be public. And it also means it's going to be just like Lamar. This man is in his 60s. He ain't switched up nothing. He hadn't switched up a damn thing. And the way he responded about that gift told me everything I needed to know. That you with the bullshit and you're posturing. And these are optics, like I said it was, when Shedeur went to meet him. And it's optics with Andrew Berry. And the owner is the culprit. And all of them know that 20 million plus fans are watching and we're not playing. You respect Shedeur. And if you don't respect his talents as the QB1, then you trade him to a team that does. And if they can't find one, then we're going to have a problem. Because it's supposed to be a competitive league, and y'all got some trash quarterbacks out there. What the hell is going on in Minnesota? Right. Every quarterback that they want to send to Cleveland is black. What y'all think? Y'all, you know what? Just because you think we stupid, don't mean we're stupid. That's an indictment on you and your shortcomings and your poor judgment, which isn't new. We see the racism and we see the sabotage, and we will be watching for all of it. It said, my theory is that the NFL owners have seen Shedeur's popularity and money-making potential and are using the power to try to force him out of Cleveland into a bigger market. They don't even have to do all that. They can just do like they do with J.J. McCarthy. We're ready to move on from you and send him elsewhere. Why wouldn't Shedeur go to Minnesota? They didn't want Shedeur in New York because they blocked him. So while I agree with you 3/4 of the way, they're not trying to get Shedeur to a bigger market for likes and clicks because that shit ain't gonna work because more people are going to watch. They have Shedeur in a smaller market for likes and clicks, knowing it's gonna benefit the entire league, but he's not gonna go anywhere. If they wanted to move Shedeur, they would have moved him when the trade deadline came. If they wanted to move Shedeur, you would have heard about it. If they move Shedeur at the last minute, the pressure. There are 10,000 channels on this young man on YouTube alone. YouTube is not the only platform. TikTok don't play about him either. Neither does IG. And that's not the only platforms that are out here. So y'all need to keep letting your voices be heard because clearly Monkin and the Browns get the message. We're not going to let y'all play with Shedeur. They promoted Stefanski because they didn't want to fire him in the first place. And they got Monken because he sabotaged Lamar quietly. And he already coming in just like he did with Lamar. Hey, B Snacks, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? NFL owners own 10% of ESPN, control 100% access to NFL content. So whatever narrative they want pushed, they will be pushed. They are pushing anyone but Shedeur in Cleveland, right? Because that's what it is. Because that's what it is. And Monken is playing into it by saying, hey, yeah, there's gonna be a competition. I don't know why they would. I don't know how people can't see through that. I don't know. Because here's the thing, Monken shouldn't be hired to just go along with the company agenda. When you're brought in as an executive, you know what your job is? To make the goddamn company better. Hey, you know what? This is great. But if we go at it this way, we could have success in this area and this area and this area and still move forward with our agenda. But their agenda is to set this young man up and every other black starting quarterback. Why do you think they asked Taylor Green in the combine to work out as a wide receiver like they asked Lamar? Because they don't have no new playbooks. They don't have any new playbooks. None. Your Monken is 60 something. You think he got a new playbook? No. You think Haslam got a new playbook? No. You think any of those owners have a new playbook? No. They just recycling the same playbook, and this year we're gonna watch it be widespread. And they clearly think we stupid enough to not look at the league holistically. That's an indictment on them. That's their flaw. They gonna find out. They want to dismiss us and say we're not Browns fans. To hell, I say all my time, effort, and a lot of my money goes to this team. Watching this team, how you get these likes and clicks? If we don't talk about it, you don't get the likes and clicks. I've seen their damn views in the off season. If it ain't about Shedeur, they suck. So he's there for engagement, but we're gonna see what guys say about that. He's there for engagement. They actually tried to tell us that last summer by talking about nothing but his fame and popularity and not talking about his quarterback skills. So look at Lamar year 1 under Monken. Look at his year 2. Look at it his year 3. And look at where he got, considering he's a 3-time MVP. And look at where you saw the sabotage, where you scratched your head, where you were like, why would you do this? And then look at his pattern of behavior. That's why he was hyped. So yes, he's definitely there for likes and clicks. And he probably knows that. He knows more than we do. I hope he does get out of Cleveland, but I don't think anywhere else will be much better. It's the league. Right. And that's what people are going to start to see this year. They're going to start to see. They took your little incubator program with Stefanski and moved it over to Atlanta. And they took Monken's quiet sabotage and moved it over to Cleveland. And that's not going to be the only one. Kyler Murray, CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels. Look at any team that got a new coach other than New York, and look at who their quarterback was. Their QB1. He was black. So everything you see with Shedeur, Lamar, it's like they created a playbook for Lamar. But it's funny, when it was Deshaun Watson, and you see how they managed to contain him, they created a playbook and they've been using it ever since. Now they're using it on Taylor Green. So they're going to what? Retaliate against him because he don't want to work out as a wide receiver? How many white quarterbacks you asked to work out as a wide receiver? How many white quarterbacks you asked to switch off the tight end? So yes, it is the league. You're absolutely right about that. And this is the year people going to see it. Because they arrogant enough to be bold with it and think you're stupid. Yep, your eyes should be on Monken. That's what it should be. Everybody needs to take a wait and see approach. And you need to look at his pattern of history, Lamar, and it's already aligning with his pattern with Shedeur. You've already seen him be disingenuous with the whole, we were going to draft you as if it's cool to celebrate. We were going to draft you at 144 or 143. Get the hell out of here with that bullshit. And he can't even speak up for the young man, but he could go on a record and call him elite. So why do you want an elite quarterback who already competed to compete again? It's total and further disrespect from the Browns, and Monken has already bought into it, and it makes sense because that's why he was brought there. Remember what Harbaugh said. The Browns were always there. They just figured since he did it quietly, it works for Shedeur. Let me tell you what they think in Atlanta. Nobody gonna say anything. Shedeur Sanders fans not over there. That's what they think. Because they was crazy as hell for bringing Stefanski to Atlanta, of all places, number one. 2, that's the city in terms of football and baseball that Coach Prime built. And that's his son. That was blatantly disrespectful. So expect karma to be a cloud over there. That was pure ignorance. Stefanski should have been checked by Barry and Haslam much earlier. Absolutely. He should have been allowed to abuse the kid. That's what they did, right? Stefanski showed his true colors, right? Exactly. And apparently Monken showed his before he left. That's just what it is. Better not see any disrespect. Absolutely. So yeah, this means we shouldn't see any. That's what this means. And that's all it means. And that's all it means from a Browns perspective. But from a coach who he is, it's the same MO he had with Lamar coming in hot. And it's just crickets after that. And do not forget, the shine is over there. And I don't know why he deserves to be disrespected. He's human. And they're pitting them against each other. So I'm gonna caution you. It's okay to compare quarterbacks, but to drag Deshaun in favor of Shedeur while they decide what third quarterback they can bring to the conversation that won't show up the Manning kid next year, Arch Manning. Don't let them pit these black quarterbacks against each other because that's all they want to do is sit back and laugh and kiki and ha ha because that's the goal. Stacking them together like twins, that's not even new anymore. That's standard procedure. Why there are teams out here with no black quarterbacks? Why do you have all these black quarterbacks stacked together and a few teams with absolutely no black quarterbacks? Because you don't want any. They're stacked together like triplets. That's the new thing. We talked about that last season. So when you hear them talking about Malik Willis, who they don't even have enough money to pay, that's to contain him. When they were talking about Dante Moore, that was to derail his career. If they bring in Taylor Green, it was to derail his career. When they talked about Trinidad Chambliss, it was to derail his career. When they were talking about Ty Simpson or Carson Beck, they don't think either of them will show up Arch Manning. That's what they think. And if they think they will, they're not going to bring them in because they don't want to derail their careers unless they don't like them personally. You cannot possibly truly dislike every black starting quarterback out here so much that you would derail their careers, including Pat Mahomes this year. This was the year he found out they knew he was black. He knew he was black, but they saw it too. Because 17-32, it's the numbers games at keeping the numbers of black quarterbacks that start each of the 32 teams under 17 by any means necessary. And the sabotage and abuse we saw from Stefanski and the Browns allowed it is exactly what was happening last year. And it's happening again this year. Asking Taylor Green to work out as a wide receiver. It's exactly what they did to Lamar. Taylor Green ran a 4.35 as a goddamn quarterback, and you don't want him to be a dual threat option. You want to make him a wide receiver because you don't want him to go in the first round. That's why. It said Shedeur is a valuable asset. It said at this point they look stupid trying to play like he's no big deal, right? And they look criminal trying to set him up to fail, derail his career, and rig and fix games so they can lose and be eliminated from the playoffs. And it's also harmful to the brand because why not go to the playoffs and see how far you could get and do something nice for your fans for once? And instead of recognizing them, they don't want you to see them. They want you to do what you said you would do as a brand. Build winning teams to get to the Super Bowl. It's not that difficult, but that's not what's happening in Cleveland. That's not what's happening in Cleveland. And while I can predict the script that's being used everywhere that there's a black starting quarterback, it's a prediction. I'd have to actually go watch all of them. And they think you can't and they think you won't. But I follow the quarterbacks. That's how I was able to predict it because I follow the black 17-32 quarterbacks. Just like I knew there was supposed to be 17 coming into the 2025 season with Shedeur being number 17. And look how dirty they did him. They did too. And they've known for quite a few years because the trend was always there. It was always trending upwards. So they knew exactly what year it was. And why do you think this year there will probably be 0 black quarterbacks in the first round? Now that's the remarkable change, isn't it? That's the pivot. And they made sure that that's what it would be. So let's see who ends up in the draft. I'm not watching it. I'm sure y'all will tell us. I think they would try to do the same to Shedeur, try to make it seem like he's too problematic and bury him somewhere or release him. I mean, they already tried that and it didn't work. And the crazy part is, you would think they would release him. They scared to do that or they don't want to do it. I think they feel like holding him there is more valuable to keep him from going elsewhere. And then we see the same thing happen over there. Then you see the pattern is the league pattern. Right now, it's a Browns problem because everybody's not looking holistically. You move Shedeur somewhere else and your goal is to still contain him, it's going to become a league problem. That was their thought process when they decided to contain him. And he's not the only black quarterback that they try to contain. They try to contain Michael Penix Jr. so much that they got him injured. We watching Monken, Barry, and Haslam and Goodell too. All of them. All of them. Barry blatantly refused to commit to Shedeur. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can't ignore that, right? You can't just sit up and go, oh, Barry, because somebody said it. Barry had Barry wanted Shedeur. I'm like, yeah, at number 2. Because he spoke out about that, right? People see, they think people don't know that the Browns were planning to draft Shedeur at number 2. And they came up with this scheme to pivot to Dillon. Why they not keeping Dillon? Why they don't make Dillon compete again against Shedeur with Shedeur getting fair reps? Because they know the outcome. So they're going to get him out the way. Why do you think I keep telling you I want to see what happens after Dillon leaves? Pay attention to the quarterbacks that come in there. Somebody sent me a note overnight in an email telling me, I think it was maybe Priscilla or somebody, telling me that Bailey Zapp signed with the Jets. So he quietly moved on. We could talk about that tonight. So why move Bailey Zapp and you know you getting ready to move Dillon? So you moving your practice squad QB and you got him over with the Jets. So you making room for somebody. That's 1. And then you know you moving Dillon. That's 2. How many quarterbacks did they get last year in the draft? 2. How many veterans did they bring in? 2. How many quarterbacks did they have at one point? 6. And that's not new. We just watched it happen for the first time. They did the same thing in 2023. This dysfunction, instability. This is the strategy for the Browns. Dysfunction at the quarterback position and instability, period. Frequent, excessive personnel changes. That's the only strategy they have. There's no strategy to win. There's no strategy to win. You know why? Because the strategy is to get Arch Manning in 2027. And if not him, somebody else, and they don't want Shedeur showing up, whoever it is they get in 2027. They have already decided who it's going to be. And what you saw in the draft with Shedeur, it doesn't matter how talented a black quarterback is. That's not who we want. It doesn't matter if any black quarterback can go number 1. We can switch it up. That experiment worked with Jackson Dart and Tyler Shaw in the draft. We can draft who we want, where we want, and keep it pushing. And they did. And we can take the best quarterback in Shedeur and make him compete and it not matter. And we can set him up to fail and it not matter. Oh, but we can't do it publicly. So let's get Monken because he did it to Lamar quietly. That's what it is. That's just what it is. I just want to say that I absolutely love Shedeur's hair. So handsome. And those horse sculpture is actually very nice. Very nice. We looked it up and we read it on the podcast. It's a gesture of respect. So yeah, the way Monken handled that, it just tells you. It's just like when Flacco came in, there's all of this conversation that these people have behind the scenes. And what they don't realize is we see it in the way that you move. We see it in the way that you treat him. You don't even know him and you coming in like this. For what? Because the owner is like this and you want to stick to the script for your job. They don't realize they're taking on all this negativity that they've been talking about behind closed doors and it's showing up in the way that they treat him. Why did Stefanski Stefanski think it was okay to publicly abuse Shedeur, to sabotage his career, to try to break him mentally as a human being? Because the owner, who allowed it, right? So we're gonna have to wait and see because Monken has a lot to prove. In my opinion, his time with Lamar, he said it himself, he could have coached him better. His hard driving coaching style is similar to the words they use with Stefanski. We ain't having it, bro. Somebody gonna need to start defining these terms that they are using, because if his hard driving style of coaching is abuse, whether it's public or private, we ain't having it, bro. We not having it, bro. So Monken has a lot to prove. And posting Shedeur like he posted Lamar don't mean shit. It just means from a Browns perspective, they have a coach that we will not see and better not see publicly sabotage, derail, abuse, or try to mentally break this young man and make his life harder because you don't want him to get to the front of the line. That's what the hell it means. And that's all it means. All right. So I'm going to get myself out of here. I'll be back tonight at 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll probably be talking about sabotaging the Browns. Oh, Mr. Tenderism. Mr. Tenderism got a gig, and I thought somebody hired him to work in a restaurant. I want to finally talk about him and some other things in a basketball world. Shout out to Angel Reese. She's staying down for the team, the WNBA, or they're still negotiating. She said she might sit out the entire season if the pay isn't right. And Brittany Griner came back and said Angel Reese is the reason we will get NBA money. See y'all tonight. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Let's continue the conversation in the chat. See y'all. Bye-bye.